Today we're going to be going over my exact watch list using the supply and demand methodology as well as other technical analysis out there. Okay, we got lots to go over. We're going to start by looking at the stock market, commodities, gold, silver, oil, some of the commodities, as well as the US dollar. Keep in mind, just because you don't look at some of these pairs doesn't mean there isn't something to learn, because I am going to dive into different examples within this quick 10-12 minute video. Okay, what's on my watch list this week? Let's first start with the S&P. Actually, we got to look at the news because the news is actually very important to look at. Let's look at the news for the week. Starting the new month off for August, we got Australian bank rates coming out on Monday/Tuesday, depending on where you are located around the world. US jobs, JOLTS numbers, as well as Friday is the big number coming out with non-farm payrolls, unemployment numbers, as well as on Thursday. Got to keep an eye on the pound because they are coming out with their bank rates as well. It's going to be interesting to hear what they have to say. So do make sure that you do have a scan through the news every single week and every single day, because you don't want to be taking a trade while news is about to come out. Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing we got to talk about is the S&P. Really interesting one because we have price inside the Dow Jones daily supply zone as well as the S&P daily supply zones. I'm a big fan of looking for selling opportunities with price currently inside this zone. Now, I am recording this on Sunday night. By Tuesday, this zone could be removed. By Monday, we could have a massive move to the upside. I don't know, right? But it doesn't matter. To me, if prices are currently inside this daily supply zone, look how strong this move is to the downside. 1, 2, 3, very, very strong moves to the downside. And this is something that you will notice when we go through all these charts. Every single zone that I am mentioning has an extremely strong move to the downside or to the upside. Okay, why? We are supply and demand traders, and the biggest representation between buyers and sellers is a very strong imbalance. So here we have this daily rally-based drop supply zone, very, very strong move to the downside that created a new low in the market, as well as removed demand over here. So that makes it a nice quality tradable zone. So right now with prices inside these daily supply zones, I understand we have been rallying up for the last 2 weeks. I will be keeping an eye on for some selling opportunities on the 1 minute, on the 5 minute, 15 minute, if price shows me one. Okay, so I think it's in a good location. Let's move to the next one because I think the US 2000, not everybody trades this, I understand this, but it has a good story to it. If we pop, this could be a very long analysis, but this is what's been on our charts for quite some time. All last year, we were trading this sideways range up here. You know, clearly buyers were stepping in down here, sellers were stepping in up here near the top of the range, call it resistance if you want. We finally broke it, fake out, breakout, price pulled back, came back down into that support, looking for buying opportunities, but eventually prices continue down. And now let's focus on what's happening now. If you guys recall, I think in 2-3 months ago, we probably talked about this. I know for a fact we talked about this in the private group. But really nice supply zone. Why do I like this supply zone here? All right. Well, two things. One, it's got a very strong imbalance to the downside. So once again, that is telling me a lot of sellers came into the market during that time. So if and when prices return into that area, I want to be looking for selling opportunities. As well as we had this previous sideways range. All right. We broke down out of it. So now I'm thinking I'm using it as a breakout retest area, resistance, as well as a supply zone. So I have 3 types of traders on my side why I'm looking for selling opportunities. Now with prices back up into that area inside this newly fresh formed daily supply zone, I will be looking for selling opportunities in here inside this whole daily zone. Once again, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, they are all in these supply zones. So hey, I like the idea of looking for selling opportunities. Even if price breaks the supply and goes a little bit above, I will still be bearish. All right, I think it could be a little wick out. Okay, so keep an eye on that one as well. Let's have a look at the US, not the US, but the US oil. This has been my best trading pair actually in July. I was selling this thing all the way down. I think I only caught 2 trades, but they were both winners, 3-1, one 3-1, one 2-1. I've talked about them in my previous videos on trade reviews. But right now, we got to respect this demand zone. We got to respect this demand zone. Why? Because this demand zone was created during the Russia-Ukraine, when Russia started to invade. Some people might say Russia invaded. Others might say NATO. got too close and it's NATO's fault. It's up to you to decide. All right, so hey, it's been tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and each time it's been into this area of daily demand. Buyers seem to be stepping in, so why not respect it if prices come back down into that area? So anytime that prices are inside this bottom box that's yellow for demand / support, I want to be looking for buying opportunities on smaller time frames. I'm going to talk to you guys about what I want to see in another example. What else we have is we have prices reacting off of the 200 moving average as well, which is very nice. I like that. I have price coming down, touching that 200 moving average. It's going to be on a lot of other traders' radar. So buyers might be stepping in, take a probability-based chance. Now, if prices do rally up, say inside this daily supply zone, this is where I was catching those selling opportunities inside the pullback into these daily supply zones. All right, so this is why I have these 3 supply zones marked out. And if and when prices pull back up into them, I'm looking for selling opportunities. Why? Because previously sellers have taken control there by having very strong moves to the downside. And so if prices return, I want to be looking for selling opportunities. Now, we have seen a weakness started to come into the US crude oil. Why? Well, we have started to break downward trend lines. There are 2 main ways I look for confirmation when I want to see price turn from inside out. Price has to turn from inside out, meaning from smaller time frame to larger time frame. And now what are the 2 things that we are going to see price starting to slow down momentum? We are going to see break in trend lines as well as removing opposing pivot point areas of zones. What do I mean by that? Okay, well here on the daily time frame, we start breaking downward momentum. If you can see here, open, high, low, close, breaking that downward momentum. That's telling me sellers are slowing down, right? Sellers aren't easily able to take control. Buyers might be stepping in. Sellers are just getting weak. So buyers might be stepping in. That's just a precaution that I'm thinking in my head. Okay, hey, we have an indication that price might be starting to turn because we are breaking downward trend lines and starting to remove supply zones. We go down to 4-hour time frames. We can start seeing that. We can start seeing downward trend lines being broken and opposing supply zones being removed. That was the whole ideal. And actually, this was one of the selling opportunities I was trying to get short on, the 1 hour, but prices never pulled back inside here. That was mine. Breaking upward trend line, removing opposing demand zones, very strong move to the downside represented by a gap, a very strong gap. And I was trying to get a sell pullback back up into that area of supply, but prices never actually pulled back. Okay, so let's move on to gold really quickly. Gold, I do like this for a buying opportunity. It's had a heck of a week last week. So we might see buyers step in again this week because we had 3 very strong candlesticks to the upside on the daily time frame. Even if we pop down to silver, you'll see it very, very strong. So I wouldn't want to just say, hey, they had their move, they had their fun, the prices are going to pull back all the way. I'm just going to probably sit on the sidelines regarding gold and silver to see how price reacts for the Monday open and through Monday. But I think we have a trading opportunity on gold. Why? We go to this monthly time frame. We are coming back down into this monthly rally-based rally demand zone. I get it. It is actually pretty hard to see this one. Okay, so we go down to this weekly, and it's been holding for quite some time. Okay, so anytime prices have pulled back into this demand, buyers have seemed to step in. All right, it's a pretty big demand zone. I want to be looking for buying opportunities on a smaller time frame. I understand I'm getting value in the market because prices are sitting inside that monthly demand. We go down to that 4-hour time frame. What did I mention before? We want to see confirmation. We want to start to see opposing zones being removed, momentum lines being broken. Okay, we got that. All right, we started to see downward trend lines being removed, opposing zones being removed. Sorry, breaking momentums, opposing zones being removed. All right, this was the 4-hour demand I was trying to get a pullback on. Instead, prices did continue up and is actually sitting inside this nice 4-hour supply zone. I really do like that. I do. As well as you're going to have price reacting off of that 200 moving average as well. It's always nice when you can come up with these ideas when prices are inside these really strong zones, as well as you have 2 or 3 different trading strategies on your side as well. It just gives it extra confluence and it makes you feel more confident going into the trade, right? More higher probability. So actually, I like that area for selling opportunities. Look at that, right? Once again, guys, look, very, very strong move to the downside. Very, very strong move. I'm not trading anything in here. No. Why? It's just grinding down. Does that represent a very strong imbalance? If you put Barcelona versus a Division 3 soccer team against one another, all right, let me draw this because this is a good example that I talk about in the private group when people are going through the program. If you put Barcelona, a top Champions League team, right? Let's see, Barcelona versus a Division 3 soccer team. There's a serious imbalance between the skill gap of the team players on Barcelona versus the players on Division 3. At the start of the game, the score is going to be 0-0. But by halftime, it's going to be 20-0, right? Maybe 21. We'll give them the Division 3 one goal. We'll give it to them. All right, it's going to be 20-1. 20, we're going to take that goal away, 20-0. 20-0, right? They're going to have their third strings and fourth strings playing the game for Barcelona going into the second half, right? We want to be betting on teams like Barcelona, all right? How can we identify teams like Barcelona on the chart? Well, we are going to see that by strong imbalances. Once again, very strong imbalances. So when prices do come up into that area of supply up in here, I think it's totally fine. If you want to use that as your higher time frame, your 4-hour zone, go down to like a 5-minute or 1 minute and then try capturing some shorts in there, right? You're in a previous area of where sellers took control. You guys go onto your own charts and look at this, all right? You'll see it. As well as if prices do manage to rally up here, I'm going to look for sells up there. All right, once again, very, very strong move to the downside, removing demand. Trend is in the downtrend at that time. Very strong imbalance. That represents everything, okay? On the buy side, we got these nice demand zones here. So I'm going to be waiting for prices to also pull back into those demand zones, okay? So let's keep going on to silver. We've got a lot to go over. Silver is at an interesting level because, okay, I've had this chart marked out for quite a while, but it's a pretty chart, so that's why. We've had this weekly demand down here. Once again, why did I like looking for buy? Because we have a very, very strong move to the upside. Now you might be thinking, I know I'm talking about a lot. I got to cover a lot in this like 15-minute video, and I know I said it's probably gonna be 10 minutes, but heck, I got so much good stuff to throw at you guys that I just can't cover it simply in 15 minutes or 10 minutes. 15 minutes, yeah, but 10 minutes would be definitely a struggle. All right, because I'm going to answer some questions too. Like people come to me and they're like, I can't find opportunities. All right, maybe I should be looking at different time frame sequences. What are the zones that you're looking at different time frame sequences? We're going to talk about that. Okay, we're just kind of identifying the new levels, weekly, daily, monthly zones because we're going into a new month. All right, and this weekly demand, very, very strong move to the upside. So if prices ever return into that area, I want to look for buys. Okay, as well as it's an old breakout zone. It was old resistance. Prices smashed out of that zone. So that's telling me a lot of buyers came in. Now, don't get me wrong. I would have been looking for selling opportunities in here. 100%. I mean, look at these strong imbalances, right? Rally base, drop. I 100% agree. This would totally be on my watch list back in 2020 if I was looking for selling opportunities in there. Totally. All right. Now, I think I really like this weekly supply zone. Why? Because we have been in a range for the last year and a half, and this is where buyers seem to always step into the market down in here. And I was saying, hey, since prices are over here, back down into this low area, I was saying this at the start of May, I was thinking, hey, hey, we're back into that area. It's clearly respected it once, twice, three, four or five times. I'm going to try at it again and look for buying opportunities. Buyers tried to step in, right? They tried to step in, but overall, sellers took control. So now what we have on our radar, we got to talk about what's happening now. What's my thought process now? Is we have a weekly supply zone that broke out of this sideways range. So now we have support and resistance traders on our side, maybe some breakout retest traders, as well as supply and demand traders on our side. These are the common traders we're going to have on our side when we're trading supply and demand. Support and resistance, breakout retest traders, okay? And supply and demand traders. So I like that area for selling opportunities. Like I said, I want to wait for confirmation, waiting for trend lines to be break. opposing zones to be removed. We can start to see that on 4-hour time frame. Like, this is what I mean. I talk about this on my YouTube channel. Actually, if you guys haven't seen it, let me go to my YouTube. Videos, playlist, tips, supply and demand course part 1, part 2, part 3. Those are good videos for you to watch. And talking about confirmation, I talk about it in this one, part 2. Okay. And if you guys actually want more training on the supply and demand, head over to moneyballtrading.com. That will be in the description below, where I will send you more videos, interviews on this exact system, give you my top 3 tips about how to fast track your trading, as well as lots of bonuses, why traders, 90% of the traders are losing money, and what I would do to bring a trader to consistently profitable in 90 days or less. Like, that is what I recommend, and I'll send that all to you. So that will cover more of multiple time frame analysis. So let's continue on to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's at an interesting level right now. If you recall, I deleted everything. Let me quickly pull up the Discord crypto tab. This was the setup we've been talking about for quite some time, when prices were inside this demand. I actually talked a video about this, if you guys remember, and we said, hey, it's inside this really nice demand zone. Let me see. Yep, still that weekly demand. Really nice weekly strong demand. We broke through that 200 moving average. We were like smashing below bottom RSIs, like way overextended. And I just thought, hey, I think we're going to have a very high probability buy week for 1 to 2 weeks. And actually, that's where buyers finally stepped in. We kind of consolidated for 3-4 weeks, and now we're starting to make that move back up to the upside. Now, it's not as marked out as pretty as I thought. Let me go back to this. Yes, we have supply zones up here and up here, but we're also going to have this old area of not support. I mean, yeah, sure, support, but also demand. All right, we've had this on our chart. Demand, kind of support, we broke through it. So now we're going to have breakout retest traders, as well as support and resistance traders selling with us, resistance traders, as well as supply and demand traders, if and when prices pull back up into this whole area of weekly supply. So if you want to be looking for swing trades on crypto, hey, I think it's a good area to be looking for selling opportunities in here. Once again, very strong move to the downside. Buying opportunities, very strong move to the upside. Now, if you're like, hey, I don't want to do swing trades, I don't like them, what can I do? Well, let's go down to the daily. Totally fine, because there's opportunities for day trades, there's opportunities for scalps, there's opportunities for swing trades, right? If you aren't finding anything, well, then you can start looking at different time frame sequences. Okay, then you can start looking at different types of trade setups, set and forgets, confirmation, double confirmation. Right? There's so many different things that you can do, and start looking at different time frame sequences. But you got to find what you like. We talk about this a lot in this meeting today we had in the private group, and in fact, I'm like brushing over like things I'm only talking about for like 10 seconds, or going over a chart for a minute or two. Like, we're talking about it for like 7-10 minutes, right? Talking about different scenarios and how to trade this, and what might you overcome, or what might you get yourself into if you face this problem, or hey, if you start doing this, what's a common issue that will usually pop up if you decide to do this? You know what I mean? So it's always good to understand what's working, what's not working, what might happen if you change a certain rule. So on Bitcoin, I like this daily demand. Daily demand, daily trend, we're in an uptrend. Okay, why? We've removed this supply zone right here, making higher highs, higher lows. Short-term trading, remember, this isn't swing trading, this is short-term trading. I like it for buying opportunities. If we can get a pullback into this daily demand zone, I see prices going all the way back up into the supply zone, because we don't have any type of supply that's going to come into it until we hit that weekly area of supply. So I like the idea of looking for buying opportunities this entire way. Okay, so trying to be bullish on this Bitcoin as much as I can right now. And if we pop down to that 4-hour, we'll see that same 4-hour zone, right? Same 4-hour. Okay, so let's go down to the dollar really quickly. Let's talk about the dollar before we move on to these other wheat, soybeans, sugar, white, pound CAD, because I got to talk to you guys about these ideas. Oh my gosh, this is going to be longer than I thought. I should just be throwing you guys the meeting. That's something I would like to do, is maybe just include everybody here on YouTube, maybe send out a forum and you guys can join the meeting link and get the recording sometime. If you guys would be interested in that, and you guys can participate in one of our meetings, one of our Wednesday trade review meetings or the Sunday prep meetings, we can do that. And I know you guys have a lot of questions, and I think a lot of people in the private group will get a lot of value from them, because these aren't certain problems that they'll come across because they're going through the private group, but they should be aware of it, or maybe you're going through problems that they're currently not going through problems, you know? So regarding the dollar, as much as I hate buying this dollar, I mean, you got to respect it. This whole year, it's been up like 12% overall on everything. So you've really just got to continue buying the pullbacks, in my opinion. I hate saying that, but it's been such a strong dollar, and if you've been trying to sell this dollar all year, you've probably lost money. It's like me trying to sell, or sorry, buy the stock market. I think I talked about it in one of my other videos where I said like I took in 20 longs on the stock market, and I've only came out with 3 winners. Now the stock market, obviously, what has it been doing all year? It's been going down nonstop, like 66% of the days. Okay, so when it comes to my long trades, when I'm trading the stock market, I'm only getting like a 20% win rate or something like that, 10%. And then when I'm shorting, because I'm trading with this trend overall, I was rocking like a 50% win rate or 45%, going 3 to 1s. You know, so it makes sense for me to adjust. I don't mind sharing that stuff with you. I mean, it's stuff that is important and stuff that I try to review and share with you guys and come up with your own conclusion. Because everybody trades a little different. Just because I'm bad at counter trend trading doesn't mean you can't be good at counter trend trading. And that's actually something Brendan posted in the backtesting journaling tab. I don't want to show it because, you know, it's his stuff. But we broke down everything. He was reviewing trending versus sideways versus arrivals versus poor arrivals, quality score over 9 versus underscore of 9. What happens if he went for 10 to 1 versus 2 to 1, and so on and so on. And you know, he's creating a better plan for himself. So it was really well documented. Anyways, what am I thinking for the US dollar? I'm looking for buying opportunities, but as we can see over the last week, this thing has been going down. When it comes to multiple time frame, I am waiting for prices to come back down into this daily demand. So we could see a weaker dollar, maybe for another day, right? Maybe. But if we get back into this area of daily demand, I am definitely going to be looking for buying opportunities. Trends in an uptrend, right? Continue buying the US dollar. If we go to the New Zealand USD, the Aussie USD, Pound USD, Euro USD, it's all going to look down, right? Down, down, down. USD CAD will be up because the USD is the base currency. USD yen will be up, right? So we've had this correction. I need to see confirmation. And what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to have to start seeing this 1 hour trend starting to turn. This is for like every time frame, not time frame, but every pair, Euro, Pound, New Zealand, all these, we're going to have to see the downward trends being removed, opposing zones being removed. Break in momentum, opposing zones being removed, right? Strong rallies up, and then I'll start looking for those buying opportunities, right? Trading with the trend going up. So when it comes to pound CAD's an interesting one. We talked a lot about this on pound CAD, and actually I'll show you guys a funny stock to look at as well. This down here is where we're seeing the buyers really step in. Now, this has been the whole zone. We've been keeping on our chart for some time. Massive demand zone, shooting to the upside. I definitely like looking for buying opportunities if prices return. Came in once, twice, 3 times. It's worked. Now we're going to the very extreme. What do you notice about this area of hold demand? Like, this is where the buyers really stepped in. Down in here, down in here, down in here. So if we actually tighten this up even more, this is where the last resort, this is where the buyers came in, right? This is the bottom of the barrel. We've never broken this level since 2010 at least. This is my data feed at least, right? We totally could break it. I'm not saying it can't, right? Because Euro USD has gone below, obviously, 2001 lows, as we know, all right? But the chart, I'm not getting the data for that. We got to go Euro USD, FXCM, right? We're going into territory of 2002, back into this monthly demand. okay? Which we're actually, I think we just touched it, just barely touching it, right? So that's really where I see the buyers coming in, okay? And as for sellers, back across into this new, oops, this is a solid video for you guys. Oh my gosh. Back into this supply, okay? So if we go back to pound CAD, talking about being in a downtrend, we're inside an area where we want to be looking for buying opportunities. Why? Because the last 10 times buyers have really taken control down in this whole area. We're going down into that area, okay? Actually, I think that monthly isn't that like I don't know what these single time frame candlestick patterns are, but that's a bullish indication if I recall. Correct me if I'm wrong. A hammer, top hammer? I don't really know these things. The problem I have with these traders that trade strictly based off of a one candlestick pattern, like a doji or I don't even know them all, shooting star, hammers, whatever, hanging man, is as soon as you change the time frame, it gets completely erased, right? So if we go down to a different time frame, like this monthly candlestick is not going to be there. But if you're trading supply and demand, those zones are not going to change. The imbalances are still going to be there on every smaller time frame. All right, you can't ignore that. It's a very strong move, right? They have to be there. So that's the only problem. I still get it, and I still somewhat use it if I see it as a small correlation, but I don't go out there looking for it. But I know some traders do, and it works very well. It's just I'm not a personal big fan of them, but I know some traders that are. Some traders are very big fans of them. Okay? So anyways, we're in a weekly downtrend. All right, we go to that weekly time frame. Definitely not something I want to be buying. I mean, I'm sure if we look at the retail sentiment, you guys want to do it for fun? Let me pull it up. My FX book, public sentiment. What are we looking at? Pound CAD. Continue. Pound CAD. Look, everybody is long. 83% of the public money is long. So we got to start seeing this turn. I'm sure FXCM does a good one on knowing the retail sentiment reports. We're going to start to see that probably change. But until then, that weekly is still down. That daily is still down. In order for me to start looking for buys, I need to start seeing this area, this pivot point supply. We have not seen that at all yet. This is the zone I need to see removed. Back then, when it first came into the zone over here, what I was saying is we need to see this zone being removed because that's the most recent lower low, lower high pivot point area of supply that pushed prices into it. So we need to see that being removed. On a 4-hour time frame, sure, we might see a nice little setup maybe down in here, but that's going down even to a lower time frame. All right, and if that was the zone we were talking about, but we mentioned is way too aggressive. Plus profit margin is not there. I mean, look at this. Yes, we got a good move to the upside and removing 4-hour pivot point supply zones, right? Here and here, sure, right? But then we got opposing supply zones being created, just blocking our profit margin in such a market that's the daily's down, the weekly down, the monthly down. I mean, it's just everything's down and the 4 hours down. It's just like you're asking yourself to basically get into trouble on this trade. You know what I mean? So let's keep going. I need to see that being removed. So if you guys want to keep that on your watch list for a month down the road, I'll probably keep you guys updated. Hey, by the way, if you guys are enjoying this, let's give that video a like. I really appreciate that. Now, let's have a quick look at wheat. I posted this on my trading view. You guys can follow me on my trading view, and I post some ideas as well as my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So if you guys did want to follow me there, you guys can. That will all be in the description below. As well as, hey, if you're enjoying this, I really appreciate just hitting that like button, subscribe. If you have any questions about trading, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I get people all the time, and people that are really good, and they're like, hey, I'm just struggling with this thing. Can you help me out? Give me your tips. Or it's like, some guy blew his account. Guys, I get people reaching out to me all the time, and I have recently had a guy reach out to me he took a $1,000 account into a $6,500 account, right? And he says his trading is going really well. And I told him, I said, hey, dude, like, withdraw that money now. Your risk management is most likely out of whack. You're risking, I think he told me he was risking 10%, 25% per trade. And I said, all it takes is you're going to lose 3, 4, 5 trades in a row and it's going to be gone. He reached out to me 2 weeks later and he says, I lost it all. I hear the story all the time. People reach out to me and say, I just blew my account. I go, how much were you risking? 25, 50% per trade. It's like, no kidding, right? No stop loss, right? Have these rules. Have stop losses, take profits. Make your trading as mechanical as you can and stop risking more than 1 to 2%. 1 to 2% per trade maximum. Have your predetermined entry, your stop loss, take profit, and I guarantee you, you will get consistent results. I'm not saying positive or negative. I'm just saying you will get consistent results, and then you can fall back and say, what's making me money, what's not making me money, all right, and then adjust from there. So if we look at wheat, I really like this monthly demand. Long-term commodities, super bullish this, all right? So if we look at wheat, we have prices pulling back into this monthly rally-based rally demand zone. I like the idea of looking for buys. Waiting for buying opportunities. What did I say before? Waiting for trend lines to break, opposing zones being removed. I haven't seen that yet. All right, we need to see a very strong move to the upside. Till then, these are different zones I like to be looking for shorts. Let's go into soybeans because there's a long opportunity that I like. There's a lot of, I posted this, I think, in my commodities tab. Sugar, silver, oil. Oof, I know I did somewhere. Maybe it was in my watch list. Trading View, I know I posted it. But hey, I like this supply. Why? Once again, guys, we're going back to what we talked about at the start of the meeting. Very, very strong move to the downside. Okay. Rally base drop supply zone. Removing demand over here that actually held price once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So we're removing that strong demand / support area with very strong moves to the downside. So I like looking for selling opportunities. Okay. So using that on smaller time frames is great, but I also like this as a swing trade down here, and I'm going to keep an eye on this one. If prices can pull back down into this daily demand, I'm going to take it as a 1 time frame trade setup because we have broken downward trend, removed supply, we have very strong moves to the upside. Right? These are all little things that I like to see. Breaking trend, removing opposing zones, very strong moves to the upside, a tight base, long-term bullish commodities, long-term bullish commodities with inflation. I just think everything's going to get worse. So, hey, I like the idea. All right. I guess the one thing that could stop this from working out, a major thing, is if the US dollar gets extremely strong and like everybody is pouring their money into the US dollar. Sure, then we could see that actually start to fall a lot lower. Okay? Because that's what this whole move to the downside was. That US dollar got very strong. And that's why we saw the soybeans, cotton, wheat, sugar, the commodities, the food commodities drop a lot because the US dollar was gaining a lot of strength. So I like that little area for selling opportunities on smaller time frames. And then if you don't want to buy that as a swing trade, I understand. Hey, use it as a big time frame and then go down to a 5 minute, 1 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour and see if you can catch a long, right? That's what I'll be doing, right? One of the two. So many different ways. Just because it's a swing trade doesn't mean that you can't use that daily zone as a higher time frame and then go down to a lower time frame. It's the same thing. This is sugar white, by the way. Nice, very strong move to the upside, bouncing off 200 moving average. I posted this in my watch list. Didn't take it. Usually the spreads are way too high on this for me anyways, but it's a fun chart to analyze. But if prices return up into here in this daily zone, cool, look for selling opportunities. Now, if you come to me and you're like, hey, I don't want to use the daily, I want to use the 4 hour. Fine, that's great. Here on the Swiss yen, there are tons of little areas that you could be using for swing or for scalping. If we go to that daily, I don't see anything that I like here on the daily until we get down into here. Now, some traders, we're going to talk about this for a minute because some traders might deal with information overload. The person trading maybe like daily as their biggest time frame might be waiting down here, and they're totally fine with that. Now, another trader might be wanting to say, hey, that's not for me, but I want to use the 4-hour. Okay, you can use the 4-hour time frame. Now, somebody might be thinking, I can't control myself looking at the daily, the 4-hour, the 1-hour, the weekly. I can't do it. Okay, that's fine. Start with just one time frame sequence. Look at the 4-hour, the 5-minute, or the daily, the 1-hour, or the weekly, the 4-hour. Just use 2 time frames, one higher time frame, one lower time frame, and just stick to that. All right. Add more trading pairs, right? If you're only trading 5 and you're saying, hey, there's not a lot of opportunities, add more trading pairs. Okay, you still aren't finding more, you feel more comfortable with the trading strategy. Okay, now start adding different time frame sequences. Okay. Hey, you still want to find more opportunities? Okay, now maybe trade the one time frame sequence. There's so much more that you can do, but it's important to find your sweet spot. And I will see people do this all the time. I mean, I did it, right? Everybody's different. You experiment, you realize, hey, this isn't for me. I want to go back to smaller time frame sequences, or I want to go back to swing trading, or I want to only look at one time frame setups or one set of charts. I want to only trade 1 or 2 pairs. There's tons of traders like that. Right? You find what works for you. For the trader trading the daily, they're not looking at this chart. Personally, for me, I'm not looking at this chart till prices get down there. All right, till prices get down there. But maybe the 4-hour trader is looking at, let's say, for example, what would I be looking at if I was trading in the 4-hour time frame? I would be using this demand zone to be looking for buys at. I'd be using that demand zone. I'd be using that supply zone. I'd be using this little demand zone. I'd be using this supply zone. I'd definitely be using this supply zone. When prices come back to these zones that I'm highlighting, I'd be looking for buys and sells. That's what I'm saying. Nothing interesting in here. Really nice buying coming in over here. Nothing. Ooh, then really nice selling opportunities and a nice selling opportunity. Like these are all little zones. The daily trader, not using it. The 4-hour trader is like licking his chops. Num, 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 num. Right? Thinking he's going to have all these little zones to be looking for buys and sells at. Going to get more trading opportunities, but it's important to find what works and what doesn't. Okay, and then quick look at the volatility index. I basically just summarized this entire video, hour and 15-minute meeting we had in the private group into this I'm guessing 25 minutes now. I have no idea. I'm guessing 22 minutes, 23 minutes is by the time it's going to end. If we have a look at the VIX is commonly known as the fear index. When the fear is dropping, you will typically see the stocks rising. All right, so over the last, let's just say month, we could see the VIX dropping, so we're going to see the stocks rising. In fact, we can double chart it like this and go here. And this is solid stuff for you guys. All the times will be synced up, okay? It will all be synced up, and you can see when stocks start falling, right here, when the volatility index starts dropping from up here on the left, when I'm circling, what do you see the stocks doing? They're rising, right? They're rising, okay? When you see, let's say, okay, once again, when VIX starts dropping over here, what do you see on the stocks? They start rising, okay? And then we look here, down here, what happened here? VIX started shooting up, fear, okay, it starts dropping the stock market, right? Now, there are going to be in correlation or opposite correlation. I don't use this as really trading opportunities. I just keep it on my charts just to be aware of, hey, are we in a general low of volatility? Are we high on volatility? Should I be aware of where price is on the stock market? So we could actually drop down into this lower portion of where we were last year into 2021, right? But over this year, this has been the general higher high type of action where buyers seem to be stepping in, where the VIX seems to be stepping up, right? So I've had this on my chart thinking, hey, potentially this is where we might see the VIX spike up and we'll see the stocks drop. Obviously, the Fed's going to continue buying as much debt as they can and just keep artificially spiking up the debt market. and making the stocks go up. I mean, it's completely rigged. You guys heard it. I made this funny thing. I'm going to post it on my social media. Uh, the Federal Reserve, back when this was inflation talk, 2021, 2022, there is no inflation. Inflation is transitory. Inflation is good. We might have a problem, hyperinflation, right? And then you blame it on Putin. It's not our problem, it's somebody else's problem. So that's what we've been going through through 2021 and 2022. Now what I'm thinking is the Federal Reserve, the government, is saying, because we had two GDP reports of quarters being negative, which represents technical recession. And so now they're coming out saying, no, that's not the technical way that we actually use. It's like, well, it's what we've been using for many, many years. It's what we've always been using. Like, nope, nope, nope. And so this is the stage that they're at. They're saying there is no recession. And they'll say recession is transitory. Small recessions are good for a healthy economy, and we might have a serious recession on our hands for the next couple of years, and then blame it on Putin or China. So it's all rigged, man. Just be aware of that. It's all BS. So keep an eye on the stock market, the VIX. Keep trading your plan, guys. You guys can totally do it. I have full faith in everybody trying to become a consistently profitable trader if you're actually willing to put in the work and review, get better, come up with new ideas, right? My best tip that I can give anybody is be consistent with the same trade setup again and again, right? Same risk management. You're entering the trade should be the same trade setup you're always trading. Your entry, your stop loss, right? You should always have an entry, stop loss, your take profit set. That's how you're going to get consistent. Don't risk more than 2% per trade, okay? That's like, it sounds so obvious, but the amount of people that reach out to me is unbelievable that this happens to, okay? So we talked a lot about this. And so if you guys want to go through this free training that I have, you can head down to moneyballtrading.com. That will be in the description below where you can get that free training. You can always reach out to me on social media at moneyball_austin, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Okay, and I would love to help you guys there. And you can join the private group by going to the website and going to courses. I would love to have you guys part of the program. I do my best to help people. The people that are willing to put in the work, I try to spend as much time with them. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. What are you guys watching? Do you guys disagree with anything I'm saying? Okay, there's buying opportunities, there's selling opportunities. You lose trades, you win trades. All right, be consistent. Really appreciate if you guys like this video. Long video, I know, but I appreciate you guys being here. It tells me if you watch this whole thing that you're willing to put in the work and get better. All right, so thank you guys so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Cheers.